I'm just curious if you have any sense of like Israeli Arabs in Israel and like the reaction from them and the interactions, like for people telling me like it's kind of going back to normal people, like people are people, like human interactions on the ground. Like I wonder, maybe that's a separate conversation to be had at a different time, but you know, there was an Arab bus driver or something at the festival who Hamas shot dead too.
There are a lot. And
Yes.
there are also kidnapped people.
Who were Israeli
Arabs, Bedouins.
They call them collaborators, and they shot.
Bedouins
They're
as
just
well.
like
And I'm
because people live in like it's like the regular way of life. They like living their life. They're going to work. They like putting their kids to sleep.
Yes.
It's like
These are
I have a
humans.
lot of Israeli Arabs or Palestinian Israeli friends.
Yeah.
From the West Bank, from Jerusalem, from Jaffa, from
Yeah.
a lot of places. Like, really, like good friends of mine, like brothers.
Yes.
And they called me
Yeah.
in the first week, like after they knew what happened to my cousin, and it's people that I work with. They like cried. They cried, and they were ashamed of this because they know that Hamas is not representing them.
They share
but
this- yeah.
but they have families also in Khan Yunis and in Gaza, in these places, and they're worried to them.
Yes.
But they're at least they're kind enough, or they're
Feeling enough to understand
yes.
yours.
But these voices you don't hear them now.
Why not?
You don't
Like,
hear them.
my question
You
is-
hear only like I also work
Yosef
with this,
Haddad, he's killing it. I get it. He's out there. But
Yosef Haddad, you hear him,
Yeah.
but you also hear. I'm not gonna even repeat their names,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like famous Palestinian Israeli actors that acted in some of the
Fauda and,
Fauda and all these shows. Some of them. One of them is a really good friend of mine. Again, I'm not gonna mention names because I don't know if people want to be in this risk. But he also called me today, one of the lead actors of Fauda of one of the seasons. There were a few.
oh my God, when's it coming out?
And he also was really ashamed. And there are a few others that like posted things about Hamas, supporting Hamas, and
Right.
like they got money, so much money from the Israeli industry, the Israeli filming and television industry.
They
And they're
prospered
like,
in Israel, you're saying?
yeah. So now they can go to act in the great industry in Gaza. I'm sure there's a great film industry there, and they can.
But I'm just
Find
curious.
their
Like,
jobs
I don't want to make a point like that political. Just from a human sense, it's like the people like that who called you, the personal relationships you have with Israeli Arabs, Palestinians, who reached out to you for sympathy about what's going on. Do they share the same ire and anger towards Hamas and what they've done?
Yeah.
And what they've brought onto the Palestinian people, basically
and they're-
killing all of these civilians.
And they're really political people. These people that I'm talking about,
Right.
they're always like they're going to every. They went like before they went to every pro-Palestinian protest in Israel, and it's not that like they're like I don't know, not dealing
It's not like
with
they're
politics.
apolitical. Yeah, they're not apolitical.
They're not apolitical, and still. They told me that they're not representing them. They don't want like they have kids the same age as the kids that got kidnapped. So like
They're human beings.
yeah, they're human beings. So they don't
Everyone
think
affected
you know
by
if
this.
they're not maybe they support maybe also even my friends. Okay, maybe they support. I don't know, Hamas hurting maybe Israeli soldiers, but I can maybe understand because it's like it's not an army, Hamas, it's terrorists, but it's like terrorists against soldiers. But
People understand that ethically,
But
that
against,
that
like,
fighting
9
armies
years
is
old,
No,
9-month baby.
You're saying
like-
even them would go so far as to say if Hamas was a legitimate military that was fighting the IDF, they might side with the cause of liberation for Palestine and the military fighting on their behalf. But that's not what's happening, and they recognize that.
No, and there it's still, and it's a dictatorship also. They control the people. The people voted for them one time in 2006, and that's it.
Yeah. And I'm just curious to, like, the friends of yours that are from the West Bank and stuff work in Israel? They work in Israel.
They work in Israel. The Palestinians in East Jerusalem, they don't even need like a permit. They
Right.
they have like a blue ID,
And just, on
regular ID, like Israeli ID,
for the
and
sake of,
Palestinian ID.
because
They
you
have,
know
like,
this so
both.
closely, like for the purposes of a little bit of education. So the Palestinians in East Jerusalem, the West Bank, we don't have to get too wonky and technical about it, but they work in Israel. So they have connections to Israel and benefit from being able to work in Israel, but they
Yeah.
have slightly different designations in terms of being under Palestinian Authority. And then is East Jerusalem also under Palestinian Authority, or
It's a mix.
Yeah.
You have some schools there that are like under the Israeli Ministry of Education, and they're also like the Palestinian. It's a mix,
Right.
but they can in East Jerusalem, and like not like the West Bank that you have to get a permit.
Right.
In East Jerusalem, they can get in and out
Right.
easily as long as they want.
If you go to Israel, you see that all the time. I don't think any one of
Yeah.
these protesters, these dumb people on campus, even know that every street sign in Israel is Hebrew, English,
You know,
and Arabic.
Arabic.
They don't even know that. If they did see that, they'd be like, I thought it was apartheid.
No, and they
where's the
think-
genociding? I don't understand. What, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it is ignorance, but in a sense, ignorance can be fixed and is redeemable with education
but
and
also
dialogue.
people
Hate
think-
is a little harder to combat.